Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jesse Fondora, and I am the Key Account Manager for Seabourne, based down here in sunny Miami, Florida. And today's webinar is brought to you by our travel partners at the CruiseWeb. If you're on this webinar, it's probably because you received an invitation by one of our fantastic advisors at the CruiseWeb. So we invite you during the course of this presentation to ask questions in the chat box. We'll do our best to answer them, and I will also do my best to answer the questions at the end of the webinar. So we have a lot to talk about, so let's get started. Some of you may be familiar with Seabourne. We are an ultra luxury resort at sea, is what we like to call ourselves. We have 5 beautifully appointed luxury ocean cruises that are quite small when you consider the size of some of the other ships out in the industry. Before we begin, let's talk a little bit about our health and safety protocols. We do have them in place. One thing that I will always say about the health and safety protocols is that since we're not sailing right now, the health and safety protocols will probably be adjusted by the time that the ships do begin sailing later in the year. So stay tuned to those changes. Our travel advisors at the Travel Web will be more than happy to update you as soon as the protocols are updated at Seabourne. So we talked about our 5 ships. First, we have the first class, which is our Odyssey class vessels. These are 3 distinct sister ships that are identical: the Seabourn Odyssey, the Sojourn, and the Quest. These vessels are 458 guest capacity. So again, quite small in the luxury market. The Odyssey was built in 2009, followed by the Sojourn and followed by the Quest. The great thing about the Seabourn product is that the layout is the same. So you'll see here that the suites are forward and midship, and the public rooms are towards the aft. Because the deck plan is the same and the layout is the same, when guests return to Seabourn, they know exactly where they're going. They know exactly where the public rooms are and where their suites are. A lot of the guests feel like they're coming home when they return to Seabourn. Most recently, we built the new class of Seabourn ships, which is the Encore Class, and this was built in 2017, the Seabourn Encore, followed by the Seabourn Ovation, built in 2018. These 2 are sister ships, but they are almost identical to the original Odyssey class. The difference here is that these ships are a bit larger, with a capacity of 600 guests versus 458. Also, because they are larger, they have an additional deck. And the public rooms here are also much larger than you'd find on the Odyssey class. You'll also notice here that this is a 100% veranda vessel, the Encore and the Ovation. The Odyssey, the Sojourn, and the Quest are 90% veranda with a few window suites. We never have any inside suites on Seabourn. What is Seabourn? Seabourn is an all-inclusive difference. So aside from being small and intimate, our crew has an incredible intuitive service. So they know your name, they know your preferred drink after you visited the bar. They are just attuned to all of the guests, from the suite stewardess to the bar staff. It really does feel as if you are home on board Seabourn. We do visit all 7 continents in a normal year. As I mentioned, all of our suites are oceanfront, the vast majority with verandas. We do offer complimentary premium spirits and fine wines, and these are available throughout all the bars in the ship. You also have in your suite a mini bar that we will stock with 2 of your preferred spirits. You'll also find a full bottle of champagne when you check in. The gratuities are included, so you never have that uncomfortable situation where you don't know if you're going to tip, how much you're going to tip. If you make friends on board, who's going to buy the round? Seabourn will buy them for everyone. One of the things that sets us apart from our competitors is our partnerships. The big one being with Chef Thomas Keller. Now, if you're a foodie, you absolutely know who Chef Thomas Keller is. He is the owner of the French Laundry in Napa Valley. He also has multiple restaurants throughout the country, including one here in South Beach. We have a Thomas Keller grill on board all 5 of our ships, and all the guests are guaranteed to dine at least one time at the Thomas Keller grill. It's usually for every 7 days, you have one opportunity to dine at the Keller grill. I sailed about a year and a half ago when we were still cruising, and I thought it was a fantastic experience. They prepared a Caesar salad tableside, including the dressing. We ordered lobster thermidor. I mean, who does that? Who orders that? It was just really an incredible experience at the Thomas Keller Grill. All of our dining venues are complimentary. So the Keller Grill is complimentary. We also have our main restaurant that is available. It's open for lunch and dinner every day. We have the Colonnade restaurant. We also have in-room dining that's available. We have on the patio area in the daytime is the patio where there's also the restaurant called the Patio, and at nighttime it turns into Earth and Ocean. And on the larger Encore Innovation ship, we also have a sushi restaurant that is called Sushi. We have some fantastic, what we call conversations. I had a chance, as I mentioned, to sail. It was in the Caribbean, and during the daytime, I was doing my tours, which is when the speakers were speaking. And the great thing is we record them. So when I came back from my tour and was ready to watch them, I was just able from my suite to turn the TV on and catch the presenter of that afternoon. We do offer shore excursions on all of our voyages, but some of our excursions are called Ventures by Seabourn, and these are optional shore excursions. They're a bit more enhanced. So these would be the kayaks, for example. We do have kayaks on board. These would be zodiacking in Alaska, going up to see the seals. This would also be, for example, Anchor Wat in Southeast Asia, where we would actually get you off of the ship. You would visit Angkor Wat for a day or two, and then we'll get you back on the ship to continue your voyage. These specific shore events are called Ventures by Seabourn. We're also the preferred partner for UNESCO. So if you have an interest in history, we do visit over 150 UNESCO World Heritage Sites throughout the world. And great thing here is that when you take a UNESCO tour, we give back. So part of that money for that tour is given back to UNESCO. And to date, we've given over $1 million to maintain these incredible sites throughout the world. If you love spa, we have a fantastic partnership with Dr. Andrew Weil. You may know Dr. Andrew Weil from Oprah and from TV's Oz. He's our health and wellness guru, and he has put together a fantastic mindful living program in our spa area. We have a great collaboration with Sir Tim Rice. One of the evenings you will experience an evening with Tim Rice, where we have our dancers and our singers on board will actually sing many of Sir Tim Rice's fantastic musicals like Evita, The Lion King. And of course, we are committed to environmental stewardship and sustainability. That's very important to our brand. So as we move forward, we'll talk a little bit about the suites, because for those of you who are not aware, we do have some fantastic suites on board Seabourn. The first off is our Veranda Suites and our Ocean View Suites. These average about 300 square feet. They have a fantastic bathroom, as you see there on the top right, with separate tub and shower with dual sinks. We also have molten brown as our bath amenity in our veranda and our Ocean View Suites, as well as throughout the ship. If you want something a bit larger, we do have Penthouse Suites, and these are about 460 square feet. And these are obviously a bit larger, and that's the picture that you see here. There is a little separation between the bedroom and the sitting area. And if you love the spa, we have a very small number of spa penthouse suites. In order to get to these penthouse suites, you need to access them through the spa. So as you can envision yourself walking in the morning or coming out in the afternoon and just being enveloped by the fragrance of the spa coming in, it really is a fantastic experience to stay in these penthouse spa suites. And typically we have only 4 of them on that particular deck. So they're very, very private. They're also a bit larger than the penthouse spa suites, and they have additional amenities. Now, if you need some more space, not a problem. We do have premium suites, and those range from owners and signature suites to the largest winter garden suite that can be over 1,000 square feet. As you see here, they all have a separate sitting area, dining room table. There's a mini bar that's there. Guests typically in these premium suites tend to host a cocktail before dinner for some of their friends, either in their group or some that they meet on board. And we're happy to create the invitation and also send a waiter up to your suite to host the dinner, or I'm sorry, the dinner, the cocktails in the afternoon before dinner. I should also mention that caviar is included at Seabourn. 24 hours, we use Regis Ova caviar, which is the preferred caviar of Chef Thomas Keller. Now, when you're on a small vessel, sometimes some of our guests say, well, what is there to do on board? First off, there's a lot to do on board. But I will say that if you look at our itineraries, we tend to be in port pretty much every single day, with the exception of some of the crossings. And we're also going to be staying late as well. So on board the ship, we do have lots of things to do if you choose not to go off. So we will do food tasting, wine tasting as well. We have, of course, the we do complimentary massage moments out on the deck. I mentioned we have caviar available all the time, and some of our Caribbean departures, we offer a caviar and surf beach party to our guests. As I mentioned, we do have the conversations, and on every voyage, we do have speakers, and they're very interesting speakers that talk about everything from history to American history to world events to global warming. I mean, anything that you can think of, we tend to have on board for as speakers. So we also serve afternoon tea. We do have a marina. We do have a marina, as you see there. So in certain ports, we're able to also offer kayaking and sailboating in the back with those small sail fins. So there's a lot to do on Seabourn, whether you're on board or you are off the ship. So right now we are scheduled to begin service in July for 2021. And frankly, that's the expectation right now. Things are getting much better in the world. So we are hoping to start in July. We paused Alaska this year a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, we also paused some of our Northern Europe itineraries. So I just want to go briefly through 2021 because I really feel that the focus should be more on 22 and 23 moving forward. So in 21, beginning in July, we do expect a return to the Mediterranean, and these are some of the ports that we'll be able to visit during this summer. And you'll see here lots of ports that you may recognize, but also lots of ports that you don't recognize because the ship is small enough to be able to anchor off some of these small off the beaten path cities or small little harbors. So we'll be visiting everywhere from the Canary Islands all the way to Turkey. And what you don't see here is we are expected to visit the Holy Land this year, going down to Israel. We're also visiting Cyprus. So stay tuned for that, and your advisor at the Cruise Web could update you on what's going on in 2021 if that's your interest. As I mentioned, we're really looking a little bit forward into 2022. We had to pause the 21 Alaska season a couple weeks ago, but we did introduce the 2022 Alaska and British Columbia voyages. Now, this year, we were relegated to just 7 days due to the CDC, but beginning in 2022, we can go back to our original itineraries, which range from 7, 11, and up to 14 days. One of the things when you're talking about Alaska is that there are a lot of lines that do a fantastic Alaska experience, but Seabourn Odyssey, which is the ship that will be visiting Alaska next year, is 458 guests. It's a very different experience when you're on a vessel with under 500 guests versus even 1,000 or 1,500. We're able to get much closer. We're able to sail closer in the inside passage than you'd be able to get from one of the larger vessels. You'll see here, these are the itineraries for 2022, beginning in May 27th. The next slide here will show you the 14-day itineraries that are round trip Vancouver. And of course, these are fantastic voyages, but they're also great for pre and post. So you may want to come in a couple days prior into Vancouver, which is a beautiful city. And if you're doing one of the open jaw voyages that may end up in Juneau, you absolutely want to go up to Denali and just make it a 14 or a 21-day experience when you're in Alaska. So I encourage you to speak with your Cruise Web advisor about Alaska if that is of interest to you next year. We are also returning to Canada and New England in 2022. So we're excited about that. Unfortunately, this year we couldn't do that itinerary. So we're happy to announce the 2022 Canada and New England itineraries. Now, these itineraries are not actually available just yet. So they will be available at the end of the month. So you're getting a sneak peek here. You'll see that these voyages begin on August 29th with Montreal to New York. And we also, that's a 12-day voyage. And then we also have a September 22nd 12-day, which is round trip Montreal. And you'll find the final voyage, which is Montreal to Miami towards the end of the season on October 28th. And if you're living up in the Northeast or if you're living up in Canada, what a great way to come down to Florida on the Seabourn Quest. 2022 will also bring a lot of changes to our itineraries in Europe. So in 2022, we're expected to visit 27 destinations that will be either a maiden call, first time visit for Seabourn, or ports that we haven't visited in quite some time. We've also listened to our guests, and our guests have said that they want to spend the night in many of these ports where there's some fantastic nightlife. So you'll notice that we have multiple overnights available, and these are just some of the ports that you see here, from Amsterdam all the way to Rouen for Paris. And those port voyages that we don't overnight, we will have the opportunity to stay until 11 p.m. again, to allow the guests to enjoy evening entertainment off of our ships. So I just want to highlight a couple of voyages and a couple of itineraries for you in 2022. The Sojourn will be visiting the Western Mediterranean, and she will be offering 10, 11, and 14-day voyages that primarily do French and Italian Riviera, but also Spanish Riviera. They even have a voyage which is new, which is from Lisbon to Las Palmas in the Canary Islands. But I wanted to highlight a specific itinerary because I wanted to give you the flavor of where we're going. So Seabourn Sojourn, June 4th to the 8th, 2022, 14-day Rome to Lisbon or Civitavecchia. Again, beautiful itinerary. 2 weeks here from the coast of Italy to Corsica, down the French coast and the Spanish Riviera, also visiting North Africa, and then eventually ending over in Lisbon. Again, fantastic itinerary and great opportunities to fly in a couple days early in Italy or stay a couple days in Lisbon. We're really excited about returning to Venice. And as you see here, it's the first time in over 5 years that Seabourn will be sailing round trip Venice. So what can I say about Venice? Venice is a spectacular city. If you've been there, you probably wouldn't mind going again. And if you haven't been there, it's actually a destination that you must visit. And Seabourn Quest will be doing this itinerary. And what I'm going to show you is my preferred itinerary. If I had 21 days to do it, next year I would absolutely do that. But take a look at this here. This is on June 11th to July 2nd. It's a 21-day round trip Venice, which makes it very easy to fly in and fly out from the same port. Obviously, Venice offers incredible hotels and incredible opportunities for tourism, so you can stay a couple days. But take a look at this itinerary. We're going to Slovenia. We're also going down the Croatian coast. We're going into Kotor, which is in Montenegro, sailing up through the fjords into Kotor. And then we're heading south to Greece. So we're visiting multiple ports in Greece. We're even touching the boot of Italy, and then moving all the way down to Sicily, visiting Syracuse, and down to Malta, then back up again. I mean, this is what Mediterranean cruising should be, and it's only what you get when you are on a small ultra luxury vessel like Seabourn. So this is absolutely on my bucket list in the Mediterranean for 2022. And then I want to show you where the Encore is. So the Encore will be stationed in the Eastern Mediterranean, offering voyages that embark in Athens, Istanbul, Haifa, as well as Venice. Now, look at this. This is May 8th, which is a perfect time to be in this part of the world because it's not summer just yet. You're still in the springtime. This is an Istanbul to Athens itinerary that actually visits the Greek Isles, Turkey, going down to Cyprus, doing 2 stops in Israel, and then eventually heading up to Athens. 21 days here as well. Beautiful itinerary, and these are, again, ports that are just spectacular. If you haven't been here, you absolutely want to put this on your bucket list. So I've shown you three very different Mediterranean itineraries for 2022 that we're very excited about, and we're hopeful that the guests will absolutely enjoy this. And I can tell you that we opened 2022 a couple weeks ago, and space has been going very, very quickly. So again, make sure that you're contacting your cruise web advisor, because you want to make sure that you get the suite that you want. Now, moving forward, we are building a brand new expedition vessel. So we are entering the expedition market, and that will be with the Seabourn Venture. The Seabourn Venture is due to debut at the end of this year, actually in December. Now, she will be quite different than our current 5 ships. She will be actually much smaller at 264 guests. She will be prepared for navigating through light ice. These are all oceanfront veranda suites, no windows, no insides. Some of the unique features is we do have 2 custom-built 6-guest submarines that I'll show you a picture of in a couple minutes. We also have a expedition team that is on board all the time for all of our itineraries. So you will have an expedition team, and you will have the expedition leaders will be talking to the guests throughout the voyage. And then, of course, we have a lot of what we call our water toys. We have zodiacs. We also have scuba diving. We'll have kayaks on board. Now, what does she look like? So here are some images, some renderings of the Venture. This is the expedition lounge. Now, these are where the guests will typically meet either before or after an excursion. Beautiful bar here, lots of reminiscent of a personal lodge, frankly, of a lodge, I should say. Very beautiful colors, just a spectacular vessel. And then we have the Discovery Center, and this is where our expedition team will actually speak to our guests before or after the expedition that they encountered that day. Here are the submarines. So the submarines will deploy from the side of the ship. As I mentioned, we have 2 of them. They accommodate 6 guests each, plus the driver. And I do understand that champagne will be available here, not for the driver, but for the guests. And they go as far down as about 1,000 feet. Some of the suites are just spectacular. This is the Winter Garden Suite, which is typically the largest suite on Seabourn. What makes this different is that this is the bi-level suite. This is the first time we've ever had a 2-story suite. This is the first floor where the guests that are staying here would greet their friends on board the ship. And then this is the upstairs, the bedroom, with a fantastic view. And yes, that TV does go into the credenza, goes down in, so you do have a perfect view of wherever it is that the ship happens to be sailing. So this is the Winter Garden, the largest suite. We'll also have penthouse suites similar to what you saw earlier on our larger vessels. And these penthouse suites, again, very similar with the separation of the bedroom and the living area. And then the Veranda Suite, which is our introductory suite. And if you look at this, this is not a bad introductory suite to be in. We have beautiful veranda suites, and again, nicely laid out, beautiful color schemes, and all with fantastically large veranda. So the ship's in Norway. We do anticipate that the ship will be launched in December. So these will be some of the first voyages that you'll see here. We're calling these Northern Lights experience or Norwegian Winters. You'll see that we have multiple departures from Copenhagen to Tromsø and vice versa. And that is from December until about the March timeframe. And then as we get into the spring and summer, you'll see the expedition vessel go back to the itinerary that she will normally do on the summertime, which is going up to the North Cape and going up to Svalbard for the polar bears. And we'll talk a little bit about where else the ship is going. So as I mentioned, the ship in a normal year, which will be probably in 22 into 23, the way that the itineraries will be structured for our expedition vessel will be the ships will be up in the Arctic for the summer, our summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. And then right around the August, September timeframe, the Venture will head south and visit Canada, Caribbean, and cross over through the Panama Canal into Western South America, visiting multiple ports in Peru, Ecuador, Chile, and eventually making her way down to Ushuaia. In Ushuaia, we will begin our Antarctica season in 2022 into 2023, and that is on the Seabourn venture. So we will have multiple opportunities and destinations down in Antarctica, also including the Falkland Islands as well as South Georgia Island. When we finish our Antarctica season, then the ship will head north on the east side of South America, visiting Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, and actually going into the Amazon. What I want to emphasize is we're not just going to Manaus. We have voyages that go all the way to Iquitos in Peru. So that is deep, deep into the Amazon River. So if Amazon River has ever been on your bucket list, 2023 is the time to do it. You'll be doing it on Seabourne. You'll be doing it on virtually a brand new vessel, and you'll be able to go deep into the Amazon. So we are offering opportunities from Manaus to Iquitos and Iquitos back to Manaus. So those are 10-day departures. And when you're in this part of the world, you're obviously going to want to stay for a couple of days pre or post, whether it's in Machu Picchu or Lima, or going down to the Atacama Desert in Chile, or visiting Iguazu Falls in Brazil, Argentina. There's just so much to do in this part of the world. Once we're finished with the Amazon, the ship will then sail out and then head north and basically repeat the rotation. We are expecting a new expedition ship, so be aware. Soon as we have a name for her, she will be announced, and she will be identical to the Seabourn venture. I also want to mention that we do expect to return to Antarctica this season at the end of 2021, and this will be on the Seabourn Quest. Now, the Seabourn Quest is the vessel that has been visiting Antarctica for the past 7 years. She's prepared. She has a reinforced hull, which means that she can sail and navigate through light ice. And we do expect to return for her final season in Antarctica this year, at the end of this year. So if Antarctica is on your bucket list for 2021 into early 2022, make sure that you are talking to your cruise web advisor and booking this. Now, I want to talk quickly about some of our longer voyages that we announced recently. We'll start off with the World Cruise in 2022. So if World Cruise is not on your bucket list, you may want to put it on at some point. We are offering a fantastic World Cruise here. Great time of year, from January to June. It's 145 days. Now, I realize it's not for everyone, but if you have the time, I always say, if I live in Florida, so if you're coming down to Florida for the winter, you can hop on one of these world cruises, or if not, at least a segment of the world cruise. But the 2022 world cruise will be from Los Angeles to Athens, 145 days, 5 continents, 28 countries, 20 overnights. But again, we do have segments. So if you are unable to make the larger 145-day commitment, not a problem. We do have portions of the world cruise from 22 days all the way up to 89 days as well. We also have amenities, of course. So if you're taking the full world cruise, take a look at all these amenities, including business class air round trip, shipboard credits, internet package. I mean, it really reduced deposits, early bonus savings. There's a lot that's available still for the 2022 world cruise. And if you choose to do a segment, we also have offers and amenities for the segments as well. So it's not just for the full voyage, it's also for the segments. And you'll see that as we move on these longer voyages. Also in 22, this is not out just yet. So again, this is something that you're going to have to speak to your cruise web advisor to put you on the what we call Futureborn, which is a wait list. This is our 2022 Grand Voyage. And this was something that we've only announced internally. We haven't gone out fully with, but we want you to know that we will be offering this voyage in September 30th to December 5th. And this is from Vancouver to Sydney. Great if the South Pacific Islands has been on your bucket list. I mean, this basically encompasses most of those South Pacific Islands. This is a fantastic voyage, visiting 41 ports, 12 countries, 5 overnights. Really, again, spectacular. But same thing here. If you don't have the 45 days, we also have segments here. So if there's a portion of that itinerary that you really want to experience, and by the way, Seabourn doesn't visit the the South Pacific Islands that often, particularly so many of them. So this is a great opportunity to combine the luxury of Seabourn and the experience of visiting these islands. Here too, we also have amenities, and actually this is booked by February 28th, so I should have removed that. This has been extended, so make sure that you are talking to your advisor. And then we have the 2023 Grand World Voyage, and this is our 2023 World Cruise. Now, this World Cruise is very interesting because it's taking a very different route than the 22 World Cruise. This one's leaving from Miami. So this is a Miami to Barcelona. It's 140 days, so it's a couple days less than the 22. But take a look at this itinerary. We're also heading westbound, visiting Central America, passing through the Panama Canal, going down to um, Ecuador and Peru, and then heading over to Easter Island, which again we have not done, I think, in quite some time, and then sailing all the way to Papua New Guinea, and then pretty much circumnavigating Australia, as you see here, the southern part of Australia, and then heading up to Indonesia, across through the Seychelles to Mombasa, and then all the way around Eastern Africa, and eventually making her way to Barcelona. I mean, talk about a unique world cruise, particularly the part in Africa. Eastern Africa does not get a lot of coverage, and not everyone visits this part of Africa. So we're very excited to be able to offer this itinerary in 2023. Here again, we do have segments. So if you cannot do the full 140 days, we do have segments available for you that are much shorter. And if you're doing an amenity, same thing here. If you're doing a partial, for the full world cruise, I should say, we do have the amenities that are available. I'm sorry, let me go back here. Here we go. So the 2023, here are the full world cruise amenities, and they also include an overnight here in Miami. I believe it'll be at the Mandarin Oriental in downtown Miami. Now, interesting fact here, the 2023 World Cruise is leaving from Miami, and the 2023 voyage that we just saw, that we're going to see now to South America, also leaves on the same day from Miami that we'll see. And here are the amenities for the segments of the 23 World Cruise. This is what I wanted to show you. This is the 23 Grand Voyage. This is a fantastic itinerary. It also leaves on January 6th, the same day as the World Cruise. And this is a 79-day round trip Miami itinerary, again circumnavigating all of South America, also spending some time in Antarctica and going up to the Amazon River. This time we're only going as far as Manaus and then heading back out, visiting the Caribbean, and eventually making her way back to Miami. So this again, January 6th, and here also we have segments. So if you can't do the full voyage, we can do segments for you. And also we have amenities for the full Grand. So you'll see them here, and they also include an evening in Miami with the World Cruise guests. So it should be very exciting to have the World Cruise guests and also the full Grand Voyage for South America, Antarctica, and Amazon together at the same time. And yes, here again, we have segments and we have offers for the segments. So as we finish up here, just want to talk to you a little bit about our promotions that we have going on. Right now, we have our signature savings event, and this is until May 30th. And these are programs that we have on our voyages in 21 and into 22. You'll see that these are shipboard credits as well as onboard as upgrades and reduced deposits that are available. We also have what we call the Book with Confidence, and the Book with Confidence is a program for voyages that are sailing in 2021. If you book by the 31st and you're sailing this year in 2021, we will offer the Book with Confidence, which means that you can cancel up to 30 days before the voyage and receive a future cruise credit for any monies that you may have been penalized. So you're never actually losing the money. And again, this is for only voyages that are sailing in 2021, not 2022 or beyond. And then we have the 10% early bonus savings. Make sure you're taking advantage of this. This expires on the 31st of March, but this will give you an additional 10% off. So, if as you're talking to your cruise web advisor, make sure that you're asking them about this, because again, this is a 10% savings that you'd be getting. This is something that Seabourn really does not do. So make sure you want to take advantage of that. Now, I know there's been a couple questions that have come in. Let me answer just a few of them, and those that I can get to, the advisors at the cruise web will make sure that they respond. So one of them is what the dress code is on board. And, we're country club casual. So what that means is on a 7-day voyage, you will find one evening that is formal in the main restaurant, not in the other restaurants. So if you choose that night to not dress up and not dine at the main restaurant, not a problem. You can go to the Thomas Keller Grill, you can go to Earth and Ocean, you can do the sushi restaurant if you're on the larger vessels, and you don't have to worry about dressing up. Now, when I sailed, most gentlemen had either a jacket or a long sleeve at nighttime for dinner, but again, it is not required. Jeans are also not allowed at the restaurants. Just should make that note of that. There's another question about dining reservations. You don't need to make dining reservations. The only one where you could is at the Thomas Keller Grill. So if you're celebrating a birthday or an anniversary, or if you're with a small group of friends and you want to ensure that you're having dinner at the TK Grill on a certain date, your cruise web advisor would handle that and would call us, and we would be able to reserve that spot for you and your friends. See, another question here was, what is our smoking policy? So there is no smoking inside of the vessel. We do have a few designated smoking areas outside, but that is something that we have signs that will say this area is for smoking. There aren't that many, I should add. And then I'll get to one more here, is about the how does Seabourn accommodate special dietary requests? Very easily. Discuss this with your cruise web advisor, and he will ensure that that is put on your guest registration form, and that way we will ensure that your needs are met when you visit or when you sail with us. So, well, with that, I thank you first off, and I thank our travel partners at the Cruise Web, and I look forward to welcoming you on board Seabourn at any given time. Stay safe. Bye-bye.